I've been working from home for a little over a year now, and looking back, it's funny how much I underestimated what I actually needed to be productive. When I first started, I thought working from home was going to be incredibly simple. In my mind, all I needed was a decent computer, a cheap desk, a comfortable chair, a mechanical keyboard because I liked the sound of it, a desk lamp for some extra light, and a cup of coffee sitting next to me every morning. That seemed like more than enough. I figured people who spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars building elaborate home offices were mostly doing it for aesthetics or because they enjoyed gadgets. I honestly believed productivity was mostly about discipline, not the environment around you. I couldn't have been more wrong. After spending 8, 9, sometimes even 10 hours a day sitting in the exact same room, I slowly started noticing little problems that I had completely ignored at first. My neck would feel stiff by lunchtime. My shoulders constantly felt tense. My wrists would ache after long typing sessions. By the end of the day, my lower back felt exhausted, even though I hadn't done anything physically demanding. Some afternoons I'd lose focus for no obvious reason. I'd find myself staring at the monitor, rereading the same sentence 5 times, wondering why my brain suddenly refused to cooperate. At first I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't sleeping enough. Maybe I needed more coffee. Maybe I just wasn't motivated. But after making small improvements one by one, I realized something surprising. Many of those problems weren't mental at all. They were environmental. The way my workspace was set up had a much bigger impact on my mood, comfort, energy levels, and productivity than I had ever imagined. So over the last several months, I've slowly been upgrading different parts of my home office whenever I could justify the expense. Instead of replacing everything at once, I treated it as an ongoing project. Every month or two, I'd identify the thing that annoyed me the most and try to improve it. The first big upgrade was replacing my basic, fixed desk with a height-adjustable, standing desk on wheels. At first, I thought the standing feature would be a gimmick I'd use once or twice. Instead, I ended up using it every single day. Being able to alternate between sitting and standing completely changed how my body felt after a long workday. Whenever I noticed myself getting tired or struggling to concentrate, I'd simply raise the desk and work standing for 30 or 40 minutes. It sounds like a small change, but it genuinely helped me stay more alert. During long meetings and afternoon work sessions, the wheels turned out to be surprisingly useful too. Sometimes I move the desk closer to the window for natural light, other days I reposition. Everything depending on what I'm working on. It having that flexibility makes the room feel less static. Next, I upgraded my desk lighting. Originally, I had one of those inexpensive adjustable desk lamps that pointed directly at the keyboard. It technically worked, but after hours of looking at a bright monitor, with harsh light shining from the side, my eyes always felt tired. I eventually switched to an indirect lighting desk lamp that illuminates the wall and ceiling instead of blasting light directly onto my desk. The difference was honestly bigger than I expected. The room feels softer. My eyes don't get fatigued nearly as quickly. Video calls also look much better because the lighting is more even. Then came one purchase I wish I had made much earlier: a vertical mouse. After months of dealing with elbow pain and what my doctor suspected was the beginning of tendinitis from repetitive mouse use, I decided to give it a try. The first few days felt awkward. My hand kept reaching for the old position. Everything felt slower. But after about a week, it became completely natural. Within a few weeks, the discomfort I'd been dealing with every afternoon had improved dramatically. Now using a traditional mouse actually feels strange. Another purchase that probably sounds ridiculous until you've tried it is an electric foot warmer. My office is the coldest room in the house during winter. No matter how high I turned up the heating, my feet were always freezing. Once my feet got cold, the rest of me felt uncomfortable, and I found it surprisingly difficult to concentrate. Now I plug in the foot warmer during colder mornings, and it's become one of those little luxuries that makes the workday significantly more enjoyable. It isn't something I'd ever thought to buy before working remotely, but now I'd absolutely replace it immediately if it stopped working. I've also made lots of smaller improvements that don't necessarily increase productivity directly, but make the space feel nicer to spend time in. I bought a few plants to make the room feel less sterile. I added cable management under the desk, so I don't constantly look at tangled wires. I upgraded to monitor arms, which freed up a surprising amount of desk space. I finally positioned my monitor at the proper eye level, instead of stacking random books underneath it. I added a small desk organizer so pens, chargers, sticky notes, and headphones all have their own place. I even started using a coaster because apparently I was slowly destroying my desk with coffee rings. One purchase I didn't expect to appreciate as much as I do was a good pair of noise-canceling headphones. I don't always listen to music. Sometimes I just turn on the noise cancellation without playing anything. Blocking out barking dogs, lawnmowers, traffic, and random neighborhood noise helps me focus much better than I ever expected. Another surprisingly useful upgrade was having a dedicated charging station. Instead of hunting for phone chargers, smartwatch cables, or earbuds every morning, everything charges in one place overnight. It sounds trivial, but removing dozens of tiny daily annoyances really adds up over time. I've also learned that ergonomics are much more important than I used to believe. The height of the chair, the position of the monitor, the distance from the keyboard, the angle of the wrists, the placement of the mouse, even the amount of natural light in the room. None of these things seem important on their own, but together they make a huge difference. After spending 40 or 50 hours a week in the same space, working from home has taught me that productivity isn't just about working harder. It's also about making it easier to work comfortably for long periods without constantly fighting your environment. Some of the best purchases I've made weren't the most expensive ones. They were simply the ones that removed small frustrations I dealt with every single day. Now I'm curious to hear what other people have discovered. What's one underrated home office item that you've bought that completely changed your workday? It doesn't have to be expensive or high-tech. Maybe it's something ergonomic that helped with pain. Maybe it's a gadget that saves you time. Maybe it's something that simply makes your workspace feel more enjoyable. Or maybe it's one of those purchases you didn't think you needed until you had it, and now you genuinely can't imagine working without it. I'm always looking for ideas to improve my workspace, so I'd love to hear everyone's recommendations. Hidden gems and I wish I'd bought this sooner purchases